I know, you're a dad, I'm a dad, we haven't got much time. No, everyone here is out. You're probably on the toilet because it's the only 5 minutes that you had to sit down and watch a video. Let's try and smash out this Wolfenstein Youngblood review as quickly as we possibly can. This happened. Look at that. As if I didn't look stupid and nerdy enough as it was. So I was scrolling through the PlayStation store one day and noticed that there was a Wolfenstein 2 demo for free. So because I play like Battlefield and Battlefront and like all those first person games, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna download this and see if I like it. Immediately I was like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. I love this game. I'm in a wheelchair riding around a submarine killing Nazis. How awesome is this? At the end of the demo, there was awesome cutscenes. At the start of the demo, there was awesome cutscenes. It looked like the story was crazy, so I was just like fully on board with this game. So when I started up Wolfenstein Youngblood for the first time, I was pretty happy because you could pick from 2 different characters. They had different guns you could pick from and different play styles, like going invisible for playing stealth or brute force attacks for just going ham. Putting all that stuff aside, once you've actually picked your character and customized it how you want to then start playing the game, you're plonked into a cutscene. Now, this first cutscene just starts up and everything seems like, you know, it's going to be the way that it was. But as you go through the game and you play for maybe an hour or 2, there's not as many cutscenes as there was in the old games. And then a cutscene plays and you're like, I'm hungry and I feel like a drink, so maybe I'll just get up and go and get a Jack and Coke and some Doritos and come back, and then hopefully the cutscene will be over by then and I can get back into the action. It's very lackluster in the story and nothing like the old game, so it started to disappoint me from that point on. One of the best things about this game was the way that it ran. It was grousely. Grousely? The grousely's not a word, man. Grouse isn't even a word. It was buttery smooth. I've got an 8700K and a 1080 Ti, and I was getting 90 frames per second on average at 3440 by 1440p on mein Leben, which is like the uber setting for Wolfenstein. So maxed out settings, great frame rates, nice and smooth. But I think that comes because the graphics weren't much of an upgrade from the old games, and I feel like they've just like doubled down on those graphics. In saying that, the worlds are really cool and some of the locations in that look really good. There's places that are on fire, there are places that are just like city blocks, and then you're underground in subways. The design of the machines and the enemies and that have always been cool, and they are cool, but they're still using a lot of the stuff from the old games. I feel like they haven't done a lot of new things, and that was a letdown, especially with the guns in the game. All the guns are the same guns as last time, and they haven't put any effort into making new guns at all, so that's boring. You know, like, why not add a few extra guns with a few crazy things like Spitfire and explosions and stuff like that? They could have doubled down on that and given us some really cool shit, but they just didn't feel like doing that this time. I just finished playing Doom 2016 for the first time, and that game is phenomenal. It's only $10 on Steam at the moment, so go and buy it if you haven't played it. The thing about Doom is that it knows what it is. It knows that it's a first-person shooter. It wants to be a first-person shooter, and that's all it's ever been. So it's just like, I'm just gonna kill shit, I'm just gonna fuck shit up, and that's all we care about. You know, they added story in it, and the funny thing is the story in that I sort of got and sort of made sense, and I actually enjoyed that story more than this story. So from that, Wolfenstein Youngblood has just lost its way. It's trying to be something else. It's put in all these RPG mechanics that don't really make sense for the genre. They don't work. It's tried to make an open world game, which Carrick from ACG put it great. He's like, it's almost like an open block game. You're going through city blocks and stuff, but it doesn't feel like a world. You always go through the same levels and you keep doing the same missions over again, and it's just a mess. While Youngblood's gameplay is as good as its predecessor, it's not enough to hold the series up to the pedestal it was once placed upon. And for that reason, I think it would disappoint a lot of hardcore Wolfenstein fans of this and old generations. I really should just read my script, because the script really helps and stops me from rambling, but I can't read and talk at the same time. Yes, they have added a lot of nice elements such as double jump and the apex slide, which work really well with the gameplay. The added mild verticality to levels is very welcomed. It adds a little bit of interest to the game. Another side of the game I actually quite enjoyed was the progression, which I did with the old games too. It just sucks that as you upgrade your weapons, you actually don't feel any upgrade to your power and damage. Using a different sight is about as exciting as it gets. And as a dad, I'm looking for a little bit more of a thrill than some extra zoomage. So the enemy difficulty scales as you level, just like your typical open world RPG. But the enemies are bullet spongy as hell, and it doesn't feel anything like a Wolfenstein game. The worst thing about this is that the tutorial portion of the game is left to finding and opening computer terminals. And that's fine if you just want to go in and just blow shit up and not too worried about how you're doing it or where you're getting. But as a dad, the last thing that I can be asked doing is thinking, so I just want that shit to pop up in my face and tell me how to do it. The worst thing about that is everybody's playthrough is different, so if you go to a walkthrough where you're up to at a certain point of time, or if they're in a level that it looks like you're in the same level, yeah, they're in the same level, but they're not doing what you're doing. They're doing a different mission because all the missions are in the same freaking levels. You have to find out for yourself, and I ain't got time for that. The tutorial I wish I had seen earlier was the tougher enemies tutorial. At times, in like the 4th mission, I'd be pumping 20 shots of my shotgun into a big fat sold-out bastard and got nowhere. Oh my god, this is Wolfenstein, man. We're supposed to just like hit someone 5 times and bam, they're gone, move on to the next one, blood splattering everywhere, you know, crap all over the place. No, not in Wolfenstein Youngblood. So if I had known earlier that some of the enemies had weak spots and that I had to match the stupid little squares to the other little squares down the bottom on the different guns and be scrolling through 400 different guns a second to try and work out which armor needed which ammo to kill which soldier at a time, maybe then I would have had some more fun. But no, that's not explained. You've got to go elsewhere to find that. And luckily, old Jeffrey at Polygon made an article explaining the whole thing to me. But I'll link the article in the description in case you're too busy changing nappies and running around chasing kids or whatever to try and find an article to tell you how to play the game. So I wasted countless hours pumping shells and shots and fire and grenades into all these enemies, and it did shit. And then once I found that out, wow, the game was so much more fun. But then, oh my god, I'm just scrolling through different weapons all the time. I'm killing the same dudes over and over again. They keep spawning everywhere. It's not Wolfenstein, man, and that's just not cool. What makes this worse is the fact that the enemies take a lot of ammo to kill if you don't have the right damage type on. So you have the right damage type on, but that weapon only has 30 bullets in it, right? So you waste those 30 bullets, you get halfway through his armor, and then what happens? You need to change to your other gun, which has the wrong damage type, and you've got 600 shots on that, but 600 shots later, you still got 50% health. So then you've got no ammo. So then what happens? You die. So then after you die, what does this game do? This game sends you right back to the start of the mission. Whether it's a boss fight, whether you're near the end of the mission, doesn't matter. No checkpoints. You just go back to the start and you have to go all the way back again. As if it wasn't annoying enough that you had to keep trolling through the same level over and over again. That's what killed it for me the most. The last 2-3 Wolfenstein games had massive amounts of save slots and you could save anytime you wanted. Now as a dad, that is like number one. I can like be halfway through a mission killing stuff and then all of a sudden I've got my daughter tugging on my leg going, daddy, 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 and she wants a cuddle. So I stop the game, I save it, I get her up and I give her a cuddle and a kiss and we play, and then I can keep going where I was at, where I can't do that here because if I do that I'm gonna get killed and then I have to start again. Nah, that's not Dad Lyfe. Dad Lyfe is being able to save shit, play solo games when I want, how I want, but you're not allowed to do that anymore. So for me, no, I'm just gonna go get another Jack and my next packet of Doritos or Pringles or whatever it is that I'm into at the time, And I'm going to sit my fat ass on the couch. I'm going to download F1 and I'm going to watch qualifying for an hour and have a blast because I don't know who's going to bloody win that. And then maybe if after that I'm not asleep on the couch, I'll come back to the computer and then I'll start all over again, hoping and praying that maybe I get somewhere this time. Machine games? More like machine assholes. Speaking of assholes, you know what else they ruined for me? Do you remember James Bond has like that PP7 and he's got a silencer on it? And you know that like specific like pew pew that the silencer makes? And for me, like that's how silencers are. And I'm sure they're like that in like many other movies and games that I've like ever watched and played. Well, machine assholes decided to go and film somebody with a plastic spoon banging on a cup to make their pistol silenced. Like, what is that? What? Have a listen. It's terrible. There's no map. You can't actually click a button, click M or whatever to open up a map and see where you are and where everything is and where you've got to go. No shit. I got lost for like 30 minutes running around and around in circles because all I had was this orange thing saying go here and how many meters it was away, and then it was locked behind walls I couldn't get through. I lost my mind. Like that was to the point where I got up and I was like, you know, I need to just go and find out what happens to Al next and whether or not she obliterated that Demogorgon. Like, I don't need to be running around in this game wasting all this time. Okay, this has taken too long. I'm too passionate about this franchise. And if you forgot to put mockos on your feet are probably freezing now from being sitting on that toilet for however long this video's gone. So let's wrap this up so you can get back to your kid knocking on the dunny door trying to get in so they can lick the toilet bowl or some ridiculous shit like that. From what I experienced, I wouldn't have brought the game knowing what I know now. Maybe if I had played co-op with Richo, then we could have had a bit of a blast playing it together. I still think it would have been tedious and the same thing over and over again. I don't think anything could have changed that, who you played with or whatever. I think that your time is going to be a lot better off invested in something that feels a bit more rewarding and is more enjoyable. This game wasn't fun. It wasn't fun getting lost. It wasn't fun changing weapons every 5 minutes. It wasn't fun having to start from the start every time I died. You know, it wasn't fun. Wolfenstein has always been fun. The story even is fun. But this, they've just ruined it. It's not how it is anymore. Just try something else or go and hang out with your family instead, because as a dad, this game sucks. After playing Doom 2016 and then playing this, Doom Eternal is next on the list. I cannot wait for Doom Eternal. If you want to see a review on that and how that goes when you're a dad, feel free to subscribe, give it a like. That would really help me out, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks.